Welcome back to Jersey Matters. I'm Larry Menti. I'm sure you've heard many stories about people fleeing Europe to escape Nazi Germany. You have not heard a story like this one. Told by two brothers, George and Charles Kolber. They are co-authors of the book, Thrown Upon the World. And I should point out that it's not just about escaping Nazi Europe, but also about escaping Japan during that time. But we'll get to that in a second. Why was it important to write this book?
Well, the story in and of itself is about our grandparents who escaped Vienna. And when they escaped Vienna, they took two routes. Our grandfather left via a ship out of Trieste. They took sewing equipment with him so he could start a new business in Shanghai. But
you said Shanghai. We haven't said that yet. That's the fascinating part.
Yeah.
That they went all the way to Shanghai, China.
Right.
So one took a southern route.
Right, and the other took the Trans-Siberian Railway to the Trans-Manchurian line, which would be my grandmother and her daughter. And there they were confronted by Nazis. They were actually imprisoned by the Japanese on the way to Shanghai. And when they got to Shanghai, they found that other people moved to Shanghai as well, notably Chinese that were escaping the Japanese. And once they established themselves in Shanghai, my mother and father, our mother and father, met in Shanghai. They started a life, and then after that they left for Vienna to a displaced persons camp. And then from the displaced persons camp, they came to the United States. Well, actually, my father came to the United States.
But I was waiting for you to say Shanghai because that's the surprising part of this.
Okay, most people are unaware that 20,000 Jews escaped to Shanghai. That's the largest refuge during the war.
And we don't know about it because people haven't written about it.
Well, people don't know Eastern history. Most Americans think that World War II began with the bombing of Pearl Harbor on December 7th, 1941. Europeans think it began September 1st, 1939. But the World War II actually began on July 7th, 1937, when Japan invaded eastern China from Beijing all the way down to Shanghai. The first battle of World War II was actually Shanghai, before the invasion of Warsaw, before Nazi Germany and Soviet Union attacked
And there was
Poland.
many people that went to Shanghai. Many Jews who were trying to escape the Holocaust went to Shanghai.
Again, it was 20,000. And they were forced into a ghetto at the behest of the Nazis, who wanted to exterminate them.
At the behest of the Nazis? So the Nazis had reach into China?
They absolutely did. The ambassador of Japan urged that they do so, that they kill them as well.
So, but this isn't just a historic story. This is a family story, which is what personalizes it.
Yeah, most definitely, it's a family story. It's a story of survival. Living in Shanghai, the conditions were particularly bad. There was the ghettos of Shanghai, and we talk about how the Jews survived or tried to survive in Shanghai. Very difficult situation. But, you know, after Shanghai, it wasn't easy for the Jews either because they needed to leave Shanghai. The communists were coming, and the reality is it wasn't their culture.
It's a bad combo. You had communists and Nazis both coming after you.
Yeah, well, also, too, when they left Shanghai, they went back to Europe that was under Allied occupation. Our family found themselves in a DP camp after the war in North Austria.
DP, as you said, displaced
person camp. The reason being 15 million to 20 million people were displaced through liberation of concentration camps, labor camps, and prisoner of war camps. They had no place to go. They were not in their home country. They had to build these camps to house and feed all these people. Our family was there on the west bank of the Danube River, and the Red Army was on the east. Many people are unaware that Austria was divided up just like Germany was.
I was unaware of Shanghai. I was unaware that they were involved in the war. I was unaware of much of this. If Shanghai was such a bad place to go, why did they go there?
There was the only place in the world that was available to Jews without a visa. It was open. This is the problem that our grandmother had. Getting to Shanghai was very difficult because the Japanese along the way didn't realize you didn't need documents. But if you went the sea route, you would take off from Trieste and you would end up in Shanghai. You wouldn't need documents. You know, it's pretty interesting that today happens to be the 80th anniversary of Kristallnacht, the Night of Broken Glass, which is pretty significant. So I want to thank you for hearing us out
Oh,
today.
that's wonderful. And by the way, we're taping this. It won't play on this date, but that was good that you marked the time. What do you want people to take away from this book?
That the events of those times were very tragic because people ignored the bombing of Shanghai and other cities, and people and mass murder that occurred in Nanjing, for example, the rape of Nanjing, 300,000 Chinese were slaughtered by the Japanese, just like 150,000 Jews were slaughtered at Babi Yar in Kiev, Ukraine.
And so you want that not only from a historic perspective, because it's important, but this is your family. And this is where your family went, and this is what they had to put up with. And much is written about Europe, much is written about Japan. I don't think much is written about China. So I'm sure it's important from that perspective. How can people get this book, or where can they learn more about it?
Well, you can certainly go to our website, throneUponTheWorld.com. You can go to Amazon, you can get it on Kindle or Nook or all the traditional outlets. And you know, we really think the comments that we have been getting back has been extraordinary. People tell us that they love to hear about our story and that they also love to learn history in a way that it doesn't seem to be cumbersome. So I would suggest everybody buy the book, because
Wonderful.
we think it's a great story.
Thank you. I really appreciate you coming
Thank you.
in. It was great to meet you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
Pleasure.
very much. George and Charles Kolber, co-authors of the book Throne Upon the World, which is readily available online. Jersey Matters continues right after this. When we come back, we'll talk to a business owner who started with a sidewalk stand and now has one of the fastest growing businesses in America. That's when Jersey Matters continues.